I like this question, Bump, from Noah and Callie. If we swapped quarterbacks last year, but then everything else remained the same, Noah was just asking basically how do they look? And I'm using it to set up this segment because Sam Darnold had over 4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns last year, and what was a career year for him. However, that was with a lot of weapons and in an offense that you know a lot about, and he's not carrying that here. So let's talk about what worked with Sam last year, what you liked about the Vikings offense, and then we'll talk about, well, how does Sam find success here in Seattle? So we'll start with the Vikings.
Yeah, Sam. What worked with Sam last year was he has one of the best receivers in the game over there, and Justin Jefferson. He had Addison as well, and the way they use Justin Jefferson, like the route tree back in my day, Stacy. The route tree was 0 to 9.
Flower.
Right? 0 to 9. Right? The routes that these offenses are allowing these receivers to run now are extremely creative. It takes advantage of the wide zone look. For Justin Jefferson, one of the best routes I see him run is running that deep over, right? He starts from the left side, runs that deep over around 20 yards, puts his foot back to the ground, and heads back to the corner, taking advantage of the flow of the defense. That's what Sam Darnold did a good job of recognizing, just the flow of the defense. And a Kubiak type of offense, it's not a you're going here with the football. It's kind of let the defense take you, right? When you look at the Dallas Cowboys play, I can almost tell you if it's a pass play where they're going to go with the football based on just the coverage of the defense. This is a more free-flowing type offense. I think he also did a good job just hitting the check down. Like, this offense isn't going to ask Sam Darnold to be the best quarterback in the game, right? He's going to ask him just to make good decisions and to learn from your mistakes last year, those last two games where you turned the football over and just didn't look great. So what do I like about Sam Darnold is that he has a good feel for sitting receivers down in space. And obviously it helps if you have Justin Jefferson over there. You have JSN here. You need one more guy, and you need your tight ends to step up too.
What does Sam need in terms of personnel that they could add immediately? Because, Bump, the number one thing I always saw is, look, he folds under pressure. And you saw that, and you had the stats on the pressure that he was facing late in the season. Gino was one of the most pressured quarterbacks in football.
Yep.
I'm nervous about that aspect of it.
Yeah. It's he's not the most mobile quarterback. So what do you do to a quarterback who isn't going to be moving around like that? You send him. You fire away. Send those missiles at him. So that's something that obviously you can help take care of. And how you do that with max protection, that's something that Kubiak likes to do. You keep your tight ends in. You keep your running back in the backfield, and you max protect. So that's something that you can do. But when you max protect, you lose options on the outside. So you need receivers who can win. JSN can win on the outside or the inside. I think he's a good route runner. But you also need somebody else to take some pressure off of JSN and the quarterback stretching the football field. Could you imagine if DK was still here and you got Sam Darnold? We would have felt so much better about this situation. I still feel good about Sam Darnold. I think he was the best available option for these guys if you're not trying to address it in the draft. So, yeah, he's going to need some help. Like, he's not a perfect player. There are no perfect players, but he's not elite of the elite, but I think that he is definitely above average from that last year, right? He's got to put a couple years together.
What becomes another fundamentally important thing for Seattle to support Darnold? My mind immediately goes to the run, but I mean, it feels like the best way to get him to succeed is to do what John Schneider wants to do, which is reestablish that. How do you do that?
Run that football and get some tight ends who can block, man. You need some old school type of tight ends, right? I think A.J. Barner can be the new school type with some old school mixed in him, but you just have to protect him, and you have to give him built-in outlets, right? Layer your route combinations, which we're going to see with Kubiak. Always have an outlet. I think quarterbacks, when they know that they are protected, so you keep your tight ends in and your running back, or you just have a built-in hot route, they're going to be good to go, at least have the opportunity to be good to go. And here's what I'm interested in. How much has Sam Darnold grown over the past 8 months? Because I'm looking at his numbers over the past few years. 57% completion with the Jets, then the 61, then a 59, a 59, a 58, a 60 last year, 66, threw for 35 touchdowns last year, still threw 12 interceptions. What is he going to take from Minnesota and bring over here? And how is Kubiak going to tailor his offense around his strengths and his weaknesses? He's not a finished product, and I think that people are getting my excitement mixed up with a real analysis that I'm not saying this guy is a finished product, but I'm saying that he gives you the best option off of what was out there, unless you want to roll with a rookie quarterback, which I wouldn't suggest at this point because of what we've been talking about. There's talent on this team. There's talent. You got to protect them, get them some tight ends, but defensively, they will be able to support him, and he can support the defense just by taking care of the ball.
It's a really good point, though. It's like, yeah, you're not getting a finished product. You're not even getting your future product. I would imagine Seattle still looks to the draft this year or next to kind of get a guy that they really want to develop, but you are getting an improved product. I really like that point. And it's honestly, I mean, it's ironically the same way I felt about Geno Smith, and it would kind of irk me when I'd see people go, well, he didn't play for this many years, or in 2014 he did this, and it's like, okay, but it's 6 years after the fact. This is a guy who for 6 years hasn't been sitting at home watching TV doing nothing. He's been in the NFL. He hasn't been starting games, but how much can you change in 6 years? Think of how you were 6 years ago. If I said you haven't learned anything since then, you'd laugh in my face. You'd be like, I absolutely have. So I think that you can easily take that away with Sam Darnold. That's such a good point, is the Sam Darnold that you're going to get here in Seattle. We have a lot of question marks about. I have no idea. And frankly, I don't think it's going to be the Sam Darnold you had in Minnesota because you have less support around you. However, I also don't think it's the Sam Darnold you saw with the Jets.
No.
That was like a 22-year-old Sam Darnold.
Yeah, and I mean, we talk a lot about the Jets and what they don't do. You can name me one quarterback in the last 10 years that went to New York and had himself a great experience. It just doesn't happen that way. And then you go over, where'd he go? Then you go over to the Carolina Panthers. Cam Newton ain't there no more. Then you go to San Francisco and you're the backup. Hey, listen, it's going to take some growth. He has to take another step in his career. But again, if we're talking about what was available, we're talking maybe Justin Fields, maybe Kirk Cousins, Sam Howell over here as well. And this also answers another question. I've been screaming for Sam Howell as well. If the Hawks were willing to go grab Sam Darnold, what do you think that means when they how they view Sam Howell? There's no disrespect to Sam. He's in the league, right? Has some talent, but they went and got Sam Darnold. So let's get off that Sam Howell stuff. I keep seeing that name pop up. All right.